Hey, Joe from Georgia. If anybody really wants to know what's going to happen with these tariffs and the continued rhetoric toward other countries other than the United States, well, for example, Canadian tourists make up a huge amount of revenue here for the United States of America. And they fly into America, and guess what? Their number one destination that they go to is Florida. Well, compared to last year, the bookings for this summer to come to the United States of America from Canada alone, there's some thunder, is down 70%. We're talking billions of dollars of investments that would go to small businesses where these Canadians will spend their money. And we're just talking about one country, because I can tell you the European countries are doing the same. You're going to see airlines cut back tremendously on the service that they have because
foreign countries. It's no wonder that tourism in America is down 15%. This is a big problem. Foreign students applying to American universities are down close to 20%. Gosh, and I can't wait for the next election, because what's happening right now is in the US, as in other Western countries, men with no idea on how to navigate the future are vilifying anyone who looks different, because pressing the fear button is the easiest way to gain votes when you have no talent. So it was definitely a scary experience being questioned by the FBI. They wanted to know why I visited countries like Dubai, Istanbul, and Brazil. For the record, Turkey and Brazil, music festivals, I love music. Dubai, it's now the global center of capitalism. But the questions I was asked, they also wanted to know all my social media. I had to give them my WhatsApp number, all my social media accounts, because social media is now being monitored. So much for freedom of speech. Anyway, if you're American, I hope you learn how to identify candidates that actually align with American values.
Tourists are avoiding Florida like it has emotional herpes. Florida tourism is down, beach businesses are dying, and the people are somehow surprised about it. Come to Florida, where the sun burns your skin and the governor burns your identity. It's so politically toxic that even the alligators are switching parties. DeSantis is out here turning Florida into a family-friendly dictatorship. It's like North Korea with Margaritaville decor. He's out here banning books, attacking drag queens, and starting a fight with Mickey Mouse like he's the final boss of the woke Olympics. The man literally lost a fight with Disney. That's like getting beaten up by a piñata. Tourism in Florida has dropped harder than DeSantis' presidential campaign. You remember that? Blink and you missed it. It was like watching a wet sock run for office. The beach bars are empty. Even the piña coladas are asking, is it because I'm fruity? You know things are bad when even retired boomers are thinking of packing up and moving back to New Jersey.
And so if you haven't been paying attention this week, we're actually watching America isolate itself in real time. And it's already affecting tourism, businesses, and scaring everyone away before they even arrive. You see, US tourism spending has gone down tremendously this year, and that's all thanks to Trump's policies, with a major travel analysis showing that international tourism in the US has actually gone down by 8.2% in 2025 alone, which, by the way, completely reverses the earlier forecast of growth, with economic losses of about $12.5 billion since America's a business now. And that's largely tied to tighter immigration rules, tariffs, and an overall negative sentiment towards the United States. And now, this proposed 5-year social media check, alongside the countless stories of tourists getting detained by ICE, is not exactly doing America any favors in this department, as critics are already warning that these invasive requirements will only further deter international visitors and amplify tourism decline. And honestly, can you blame?
Nobody wants to come to the US anymore. At the beginning of 2025, tourism was estimated to be up about 6.2% this year. So going into 2025, we're going to see a 6.2% increase in tourism. By August, tourism is down almost 8.2% at a loss of $12.5 billion. Nobody wants to come here to this. Who would want to come to a police state nation where the National Guard and all the police and federal agents and ICE are picking people up in masks and people are being detained and disappearing? You got law enforcement on every corner. Who would want to spend their vacation here and deal with that? Who would want to bring their family to a police military zone? Hell, the citizens in the cities aren't even coming out no more. They're staying in the house because they don't want to be bothered with all the stress and BS coming from all the officers detaining people, pulling people over, stopping people, walking up to people sitting on park benches. What's going on? Who would want to be in this type of environment? Like, everybody around the world hates us right now, and they're looking at us just waiting for us to implode, honestly. Both our neighbors to the north and south, Canada and Mexico, want nothing to do with us, don't want us there, and they don't want to come here. They don't want to do business with us. Nobody is feeling any kind of love for the U.S. right now because of our, I won't say, just DJT. Let alone the fact that nobody wants to do business with us due to the tariffs that you impart. So now that you've put the tariffs on everyone, nobody wants to hire. Nobody has money to make new jobs. Nobody wants to import. Nobody wants to export. Nobody wants to deal with the U.S. We look like a country on the edge. We look like we have no idea what's happening in the world. We have incompetent leadership, turning a blind eye to genocide, turning a blind eye to people suffering, rounding up their own people, citizens, veterans, unfortunate, underprivileged, people that fell victim to this system.
So there is another conversation that people are not talking about really, which is tourism in the United States. It is going down. So for years, America was the dream destination. New York, Miami, Las Vegas, Hollywood. People saved their whole lives just to experience it once. It was marketed as the land of opportunity, freedom, and unforgettable experiences. But now that narrative is shifting, y'all. We're seeing more and more reports of tourists voluntarily choosing not to travel to the United States. Canadians who used to cross the border like it was nothing are reconsidering. Europeans are rethinking their summer trips, and it's not just one region. It's almost the rest of the world watching what is happening in America and quietly deciding, maybe not right now. This isn't about isolated issues, okay? It's about perception, safety concerns, political tension, social unrest, the constant headlines when people outside the country keep seeing chaos trending every week. It plants doubt, and tourism runs on confidence. The moment confidence drops, bookings drops, okay? So to make matters worse, some countries are now banned from entering the US. So on one hand, certain nations feel unwelcome. On the other hand, others are choosing not to go at all. You know, that is something. I mean, think about that for a second. A country that was once everyone's dream is now being discussed globally as not safe. Whether you agree with that or not, perception becomes reality in the travel industry. Families planning vacations are asking themselves tough questions. Is it worth it? Is it safe? Are we going to feel welcomed? And what's even more interesting is that this isn't being forced. Many people are making this decision voluntarily. No one is stopping them. They're just opting out on their own. You know, that says a lot. So the bigger question becomes, what does this mean what does that mean long term? Is this temporality, or are we witnessing a deeper shift or something, like how the world views the United States? Yeah, so we're going to get back to that, hold that thought. Let's continue watching the rest of the reactions. And I really want to hear what you think about this. Go ahead, drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll come back at the end of this video to give my own final 2 cents. Let's continue.
Grenada just got slapped with a level 2 travel warning from the US. That means they're telling Americans to be cautious if they visit. They're saying it's because of rising crime, armed robbery and assaults, even near tourist areas. Now, let's be clear. This isn't the worst rating. It's not a level 4, which means do not travel at all. But for a country like Grenada, where tourism makes up 31% of GDP, this isn't light. It does land. And the timing, well, that's what makes it interesting. Just over a year ago, the US asked Grenada to accept deportees, not just Grenadans, but migrants from other countries. And Grenada said no, respectfully, of course, because we Grenadans are respectful people. But they were firm. We are not your holding cell. And fast forward a year, and just before peak tourist season, the US decides to flag Grenada as risky. Maybe it's a coincidence, or maybe it's pressure. And let's not act like Grenada's crime levels suddenly exploded. It's one of the low crime islands in the region, but now it's getting the same label as much larger, more violent states. And for context, the Bahamas also got a level 2, Jamaica and Trinidad level 3, and yet somehow the framing around Grenada feels a little bit different because Grenada didn't just say no to deportation deals. It also happens to be one of the only countries in the world where you can legally buy a passport and access a US visa through the E2 treaty. That means people from China, Russia, Nigeria, even the US can use Grenada as a mobility backdoor. And that's a route Washington doesn't control. Add in zero tax on foreign income, stronger ties with China and the Middle East, and an unwillingness to play detention partner. And suddenly This travel warning starts to look a lot less like protection and more like punishment. But if we're talking danger, let's be fair. Should we also not be warning about traveling to the US, mass shootings, ICE raids, police brutality? If Americans don't feel safe at home, maybe they should look inward before pointing fingers outward. So what should Grenada do? Well, first, control the narrative. The government needs to lead with data, show safety stats, launch a global campaign. Don't let the label stick. Second, double down on regional unity. CARICOM needs to respond as one, because this kind of pressure is never just about one country. Third, diversify. Build stronger economic pillars beyond tourism and beyond the US. And to the people, please don't panic. But don't brush this off either, right? Once your image is marked unsafe, it moves slower through airports, banks, and investment rooms. This isn't just a tourism issue, it's a sovereignty issue. And if Grenada's being pressured for standing firm, then we need to ask, what kind of world are we building where small nations get punished for having a spine? Anyway, make sure you follow me, like my content, and if you love my content, please hit the subscribe button. Anyway, speak soon.
As we wrap this up, we need to talk about something much bigger here, because this isn't about vacations and cancelled flights. The fall in tourism is not just symbolic; it's economic, and the numbers behind it are serious. So tourism in the United States isn't a small side industry. It contributes trillions of dollars to the economy. When you combine direct and indirect spending, international visitors alone typically spend hundreds of dollars each year on hotels, restaurants, transportation, shopping, entertainment, and attractions. That money supports millions of American jobs, from hotel staff and Uber drivers to small owners and major corporations. So when international arrivals decline, it doesn't just affect Times Square or Disneyland. It affects local communities. It affects airport workers. It affects restaurants owners in Miami. It affects tour operators in Las Vegas. It affects retail stores in Los Angeles. Tourism money circulates. One tourist dollar doesn't just sit in one place. It moves through the economy. Statistically, even 5 to 10% in a drop in international visitors can translate into tens of billions of dollars in lost revenue. That means fewer bookings, fewer flights, lower hotel occupancy rates, reduced spending in local economies, and when revenue drops, businesses start cutting costs. Hours get reduced, hiring slows down. In some cases, layoffs follow. I'm going to make a video about that. Like, layoffs are already happening. And what is even interesting and controversial is the timing. Many analysts and observers began noticing visible shifts around the time the current president, DT started implementing major executive orders, mass deportations, aggressive immigration crackdowns, tariff hikes, stricter entry rules. All of these policies created global headlines. Whether someone supports those policies or not is a separate conversation, but perception matters. Executive orders dominate international news cycles. When deportation footage trends online, when tariffs spark trade tensions with other countries, global audiences are watching, and perception influences travel behavior. Tourism runs on three things: safety, welcome, and stability. The moment people feel uncertain about any of those three, they pause, okay? They don't compromise on those. And we began to see, we started seeing those patterns in the US, People are not okay. People are not comfortable. They don't feel safe anymore to travel to that country. Mass deportations send a strong message internationally. For some, it signals law and order. For others, it creates fear about how visitors might be treated. Tariff hikes spark trade retaliation, which can create political tension between nations. Stricter visa process make travel feel more complicated and less inviting. All of these factors combined create a psychological barrier. Even if the United States remains physically safe in many areas, the global narrative starts to shift, and once a narrative shifts, it takes time to rebuild. Economists often warn that international tourism is extremely sensitive to political tone. It doesn't take a full economic collapse to cause damage. It takes uncertainty. If Canadians feel tensions are rising between their government and Washington, some will choose to vacation elsewhere. If Europeans feel the political climate is unpredictable, they may decide to spend their money in Asia or within Europe instead. Travel is optional spending, okay? It's one of the first things people adjust when they feel uneasy. And here's where it becomes even more serious. International visitors typically spend more per trip than domestic tourists. That means losing one international traveler is not equal to losing one local traveler. The spending gap is significant. So when international arrivals drop, the economic impact is magnified. Airlines feel it first, then hotels, then restaurants, then retail, then entertainment venues. The tax revenues decline. And when tax revenues decline, local governments start feeling the pressure too. This is not for fear mongering, guys. It's economics. Every policy decision has ripple effects. Executive orders don't exist in isolation. Tariffs don't just trade, they affect relationships. Immigration enforcement doesn't just affect domestic politics, it affects international perception. And in a globalized world, perception travels faster than facts. The United States built its tourism dominancy on the idea of opportunity, openness, and cultural influence. Hollywood, sports, music, landmarks. America exported a dream, but when headlines shift from opportunity to controversy, from stability to tension, that dreams becomes complicated. Now, this decline, is it permanent? That remains to be seen. Tourism can recover. It has recovered before, after crises, okay, after recessions, after global events, after pandemics, but rebuilding confidence takes time. It requires consistency, reassurance, and a stable global image. Right now, what we're witnessing could either be temporary reaction to political shift or the beginning of a longer-term change in how the world chooses to engage with America. And that's the real conversation. Because when tourism fails, it's not just about vacation, it's about how the world sees a nation, it's about economic health, it's about global relationships, it's about trust. The moment executive orders, mass deportations, and tariff hikes become central to American international image, visible shifts started appearing in global travel behavior. Whether that was intentional or unintended consequences is something historians and economists will debate for years. But the numbers don't lie. When visitors stop coming, the economy fails. Yeah. Let me know what you think. Do you believe the policies are necessary regardless of the tourism impact, or do you think the economic consequences are too significant to ignore? Go ahead, drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. I am really curious to hear where you stand on this. I'll definitely see you in my next video. Please stay peaceful.